In a dark, quiet space where years of buried resentment bleed into the cold evening air, two men stand face to face, locked in a confrontation that will alter the course of their lives forever. Tae-ha stands tall, his breathing heavy and his heart pounding relentlessly against his ribs, driven by a raw, desperate determination to protect his grandmother from the shadow that has haunted their family for decades. Facing him is Song-gil, a man whose entire life has been constructed on deception, avoidance, and calculated survival. Tae-ha refuses to let fear dictate his destiny any longer, stepping directly into the path of danger with unwavering resolve. Yet destiny is an unpredictable force, and in this razor-thin edge between life and death, the ultimate revelation shatters the room. As Song-gil gazes into the defiant, uncompromising eyes of the young man confronting him, the veil of decades-old secrets collapses. A sudden, sickening realization strikes him like a physical blow. This fearless youth standing before him, willing to sacrifice everything to defend those he loves, is none other than his own biological son. The air turns suffocatingly heavy as the truth takes root. Every excuse, every lie, and every piece of self-preservation Song-gil built over a lifetime crumbles into dust in an instant. A wave of crushing regret floods his mind, awakening feelings he buried far too deep and far too late. Trembling under the sudden, intolerable weight of his own monstrous past, Song-gil cannot bring himself to look his son in the eye. Overwhelmed by panic and the terrifying reality of his mistakes, he makes a desperate attempt to flee the scene. But Tae-ha will not allow him to slip away into the shadows again. Intercepting his path, Tae-ha raises his weapon, his arms shaking uncontrollably from the violent storm of rage, betrayal, and heartbreak tearing through his soul. For a terrifying moment, it seems as though vengeance will consume everything, spiraling into an irreversible tragedy. Just as the breaking point arrives, the sharp sound of frantic footsteps shatters the standoff. Eun-se bursts into the room alongside a squad of police officers, her eyes wild with terror as she calls out Tae-ha's name with a voice raw with emotion. Her desperate cry cuts directly through the suffocating fog of anger consuming Tae-ha, causing him to turn his head for a single, fatal split second. In that fleeting moment of distraction, Song-gil reacts purely on instinct. He lunges forward, violently wrestling the firearm out of Tae-ha's grip, and in a terrifying turn of events, flips the weapon and holds his own son at gunpoint. The police freeze, weapons raised, while Eun-se's breath catches in her throat. Inside the eye of the storm, Song-gil looks into his son's eyes one last time. He realizes that for a man like him, redemption can never be found through survival or hiding from justice. The only way to wipe clean a lifetime of damage is not through selfishness, but through the ultimate sacrifice. In a sudden, violent motion, Song-gil shoves Tae-ha out of the line of fire, pushing his son far beyond danger, before pulling the trigger on himself to end his own broken life. As the echoes of the gunshot fade into silence, the long, painful path to emotional healing slowly begins. The heavy fog of grief hangs over Tae-ha's world, but gentle hands are waiting to pull him back from the edge of darkness. His loving grandmother approaches him, her eyes filled with maternal warmth and deep, unspoken sorrow. She reaches out and softly places a tiny, faded pair of childhood gloves into his open palms, a precious keepsake carrying memories of an innocent past that time, pain, and hardship could never erase. Her voice trembles with regret for every heavy burden she was unable to lift from his young shoulders over the years, but she gently urges him to stop living in the shadows of yesterday's agony. She tells him it is time to lay down his pain and finally step into tomorrow beside Eun-se, the faithful woman who has stood by his side through every trial without ever letting go. Bound by a deep bond that survived the darkest storm, Tae-ha and Eun-se travel together to visit his late mother's quiet resting place. A soft, refreshing breeze sweeps across the hill, carrying emotions that words could never fully express. Standing beside the headstone, Eun-se speaks first, introducing herself with gentle respect and warmth, creating a safe space for Tae-ha to open his long-guarded heart. Looking at the quiet grave, Tae-ha lets out a soft breath, a gentle smile touching his lips. He simply admits out loud that he likes Eun-se,
believing deep in his soul that his mother already knows everything that love could never express in words alone. Eun-se playfully pouts at his simple words, teasingly wishing for a far sweeter and grander romantic confession, completely unaware that fate and Tae-ha have already prepared a moment beyond her wild imagination. Hidden carefully inside Bok's flower box lies a sparkling, beautifully crafted engagement ring. As Eun-se turns around in surprise, she finds Tae-ha standing right before her, holding a vibrant bouquet of fresh flowers in his hands and looking at her with absolute devotion. Beneath the wide open sky, his heartfelt proposal blooms into a radiant promise of a shared lifetime, and without a single moment of hesitation, she tearfully accepts. Their wedding day arrives like a dream, blossoming into a glorious celebration surrounded by every smiling face in the village. The entire community rejoices alongside the two lovers whose hearts have finally found everlasting peace after enduring so much pain. Then, right in the middle of the outdoor festivities, the heavens suddenly open up without warning, showering the gathering in a gentle, refreshing rain. Instead of running for cover or seeking shelter, the newlyweds and guests laugh and welcome every single falling drop. Wrapped in each other's arms under the falling rain, Tae-ha and Eun-se share a deep, passionate kiss, embracing a beautiful new beginning that feels completely washed clean beneath the endless sky. When you look at a journey like Tae-ha and Eun-se's, where a man had to lose everything and confront the darkest truths of his past just to realize that love was waiting for him all along, it really makes you wonder, can a person truly heal from deep generational trauma without completely letting go of the past first? What do you think was the true turning point that saved Tae-ha's soul? Even as their new life begins, the couple's first night together refuses to unfold with a touch of playful chaos. After a night of heavy celebration, Tae-ha mysteriously disappears in a drunken stupor, leaving Eun-se adorably frustrated and pacing the room by the time morning light filters through the window.
But when he finally reappears, he answers her annoyed pouting with irresistible teasing charm, effortlessly lifting her up into his arms and proving that true romance needs no perfect schedule when love already fills every single second of their lives. As the seasons quietly move forward, they sit together on a peaceful afternoon, gently flipping through the pages of their cherished wedding album. They smile through every captured memory, remembering every struggle and victory that carried them toward this blissful day. One final photograph shows them standing side by side, their radiant smiles reflecting deep hope, boundless gratitude, and enduring devotion. A silent promise that every tomorrow will be another precious memory written together through everlasting love. Thank you so much for joining us for this emotional story today on Drama versus English. If you loved this deep dive into the powerful finale, please take a quick moment to hit that like button, share your thoughts and favorite moments in the comments below, and subscribe to Drama versus English for more high-quality drama analysis and complete explanations.